Look me up on Google, search the classics, you crazy bastard. Pull me up and pull me down. It's a battle royale in the eye of the storm. Drowning in the shallows when the path is getting narrow. I'ma ride it out on this broken arrow. Fuck it. Pull me up.
Welcome to Unfiltered Idiots,
where we chat shit about real shit,
talk shit about those not giving a shit,
wondering and complaining why they ain't got shit. Ladies and gents, here we are, the end of season 1, episode 10. The dime.
Oh, here we go.
Some dimes.
I was gonna
waiting for me to always. What am I gonna throw in there?
Like
episode 9er, the Ocho. I always got some way of saying like lucky sevens.
Yeah.
It's
episode 10, guys.
10.
Yeah.
10.
This is good stuff here.
Episode
I'm excited.
10. You are not.
I'm always excited.
And we are not a QAnon channel, just for the record.
I don't know. I need to start making some money.
Pretty much like, yeah, exactly. Hold on, dude. Let me Google. Best way to grift. Oh, become a QAnon page. Oh, cool, got it. Good to know.
If you're a QAnon a follower, follow us.
Yeah.
Come
over to my house. I'll give you my address. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And I'll just, I'll show you what an insurrectionist really does.
Yeah.
I'll insurrect.
Don't forget to
You're gonna have to.
I can't make actual thought like.
Yeah, you're gonna have to excuse us.
I can't make violent.
This is episode
claims.
number 10.
Off YouTube.
We started this January. Our first podcast was released on January 13th.
Yeah.
And I think every week since then, something has happened.
Like
major.
Every day.
And, yeah, like every day and every week, something has happened. So. What's up, everyone? My name is Kenny Newell. Born and raised in Colorado. Have 2 children. Good friends with Wes. We got together to do this podcast. So we were actually talking on the phone one day, or we were texting back and forth, and I was like, Wes, I really want to do a podcast, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, let's do it together.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's introduce yourself.
Yeah. So Wes. And we like to introduce ourselves, obviously, last episode
I was about
season.
to get into it.
At this point in time, you should know who we are, but we're always going to introduce ourselves. So my name is Wes, a.k.a. Metro. Also 2 children, just like Kenny. All of us are Southeast Aurora, or Aurora, born... Where were you born, actually? I was born in Aurora,
I was born in Denver.
Oh, Denver. Oh, where? What hospital? I knew you grew up a lot in Aurora, so... You don't remember where you were born?
No.
Kenny, we don't know if Kenny,
I might be illegal.
He could be an alien. He's a reptilian. Oh my God.
I might be an illegal alien.
he's a reptilian alien. He lived below the Denver airport. Oh God, QAnon.
Okay, Swedish.
Idiots.
Swedish.
Sorry.
I was born at Swedish Hospital.
I was born at A-Town South. My kids were both born there as well too. Aurora South.
Yeah.
Mississippi and Potomac.
If anybody knows anything about Aurora South, back in the day it had the worst reputation for a hospital, but obviously it's not.
Yeah,
it's one of the premier hospitals in Aurora, Colorado.
Yeah, when I was born, they just threw me.
They're
down.
like.
I was like just like a laundry, like one of those things you throw your laundry, it's like all the way down, just like.
We can tell. We
Yeah.
can tell. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got that care of
that hamster is like. I'm telling you, man, he's running sideways. He's trying to always constantly keep going. So
yeah, so we want to kind of
recap.
I want like we were talking about this before we got on. We want to take a moment to kind of recap what has gone on since January 13th on our original podcast.
First biggest thing, the Insurrection, which you like.
Insurrection, new president.
Yeah.
Woman VP.
Well, not according to QAnon and crackhead Mike from My Pillow, but hey, yeah.
What else? God dang. What? Oh, mass shootings.
I just have to make fun of those people.
Yeah, there's a lot.
No, I mean the insurrection was crazy, and now you're hearing right what they say first. Who they blame, guys? BLM, Antifa.
Yeah.
Y'all are trash.
It's actually
lying trash.
It's pretty sad that happened. And I don't want to get off subject here, but it's fresh in my brain because the Republicans or the GOP or the QAnon conspiracists, they condemned Andrew Cuomo for his infidelity or whatever, his sexual harassment, and then
Matt Gaetz.
Matt Gaetz has
possible pedo. We don't know yet.
We have proof
Yeah.
We have proof.
I mean, there is.
There's proof, right?
It's not looking good.
And these same people that are condemning Cuomo, which he should be condemned if that is what he did, are coming out in support of Matt Gaetz.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Because they're frauds.
Can someone please
They're
tell me what the
fraudsters,
hell's
dude.
going on? I can't. I don't know. I don't.
These are the same people who, when there's people marching, and albeit the BLM protests, and I get it. Most protests are not gonna be like totally peaceful, 100%. I understand the First Amendment.
Yeah,
says,
but the thing is, though, Wes, is we would condemn that.
Yes, and we said the people that were not being peaceful.
Sure.
We've said it on the podcast. We did not agree that they should be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
We also said, hey, listen, like, you know, is it, to me, do I really care that somebody's stealing? Is it against the law? Sure, it could be a misdemeanor if it's a large enough TV. I believe over $1,000 is like a felony. Then you charge them with that crime.
Mm-hmm.
But like stealing a television from a Target versus like, I don't know, you know, trying to break into the U.S. Capitol to like overthrow the United States government are not the same thing. I understand a window and doors got breached at both things, but like it's like, you know, like people are just, they're not wanting to draw the right comparison.
Let's talk really slowly so we can make this make sense to you.
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah. Overthrow the United States Capitol.
The United States Capitol. Wes, am I going crazy?
2 + 2 = apple divided by pear, square root of pi, 3.14. Like,
yeah, am I going? I'm not going crazy.
Dude,
right? I'm with you, right?
The people who got violent, as far as who like attacked people at the BLM, things like that, that were like, if there are people that were on the side of BLM, whether that be Antifa or just random people who like attacked somebody, including some police, things like that, we don't condemn that.
Right.
However, like, you know, there's also another difference where you are in the public street where we have the right to peacefully assemble. That is exactly what the First Amendment says. You have the right to peacefully assemble for redress against the government.
Right.
So what that means is if we're standing in a public place and you try to put a curfew on somebody and then start being violently moving against them.
Mm-hmm.
I even like went to bat for the Proud Boys who were marching, and the police tried to do the same thing to them. As much as I can't stand all of them, I hope they get hit by a comet tomorrow. But I went to bat and said, hey, listen, I hate these people, but what the police were doing to them by putting a curfew on their protest was an infringement of their rights.
Yeah,
and if they start getting a little bit pushy back with the cops, I kind of go, hey, listen, the cops are citizens also.
Yeah.
You guys aren't any higher ranked than me.
Right.
You have to abide by these same constitutional amendments.
Here's the thing, and I spoke about this early on too. So if there was a group of black people that stormed the Capitol and broke into the Capitol, there'd be a lot of dead black people. Let's not
or Muslims.
Yeah, let's not sit here and say that that's not what would have happened.
Brown, black, Muslim.
Right?
I mean, like.
So the thing is, though, is there's no gray area in this. It's either you're white or you're black, and it for some reason it feels like it came out of nowhere to me, or I was just that blinded and jaded to it.
I think it's been there. I think that like.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, but.
One of my buddies, Nathan, and Nathan won't be mad that I said this. I guarantee it, because it was a really good statement, and I don't know if I said this on one of the podcasts yet, but I remember when Trump won. And Nathan, is a gay man. He's out, so it's not like that's some secret. So don't anybody think I'm like, he's, completely out. Love that kid to death. He is one of my most amazing friends like you. I just adore him.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, right when it happened, he said, this is what America gets. And I was like, wow.
Wow.
And it just really, I sat there and was like, holy shit. And over the last 4.5 now, whatever, plus years, Nate and I, talk all the time, like you and I, and many times, and Nathan would back this up. Nathaniel will tell you that I have said, dude, you were so right about what America, this is what they get. Because.
So what did he mean by that?
What he meant by that is that, like, that people think that this is what, this is going to expose so much of really what was maybe there.
Yeah.
And so, obviously Nate and I were, Nate, my buddy Pete, and a couple other friends, were at the Bernie rally. So, I mean, that's where we stood. But, like, we also, like us, like, we're independent people who go, hey, listen, we should be voting for people who can help as many people as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And that big tent idea is like, yeah, dude, if you give people livable wages, Medicare for all, education so that they can better themselves, you're going to then eliminate a lot of, like, quote unquote welfare and poverty and all that kind of stuff. So there's all your people on the right and your libertarians flipping out about that. Well, that's how you fix that.
Yeah.
We force these companies to pay.
So
he was on that same mindset, and he said that, like, this is what we get, because it's going to show people that, like, you don't want this buffoon who grew up wealthy as shit and who had everything handed to him, because he says all the right things at his rallies, like, the system is rigged, and I know it's rigged. It's like, well, yeah, because you're the one rigging it, dude.
Yeah.
You're one of the people rigging it. And Nathan understands that. He's very intellectual, very smart, and that's what he meant by it.
I think this is the same Nathaniel that
You better, yeah.
that I recently became Facebook friends with, and I might have met you before, so I apologize, but I get what he's saying, right?
Yeah.
I understand what he's saying, but it really lends itself to, okay, so now we have a divided America, right? Like it is.
I think it was divided, and they
right,
exposed
but like
it.
it's been exposed. It's black and white. So really, really my goal right now, with this podcast is to really ensure that we are getting out the correct information, and it may be we may be taking pot shots at people. We may be, telling our truth, and that may be a liberal side of things. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
I am not going to sit here in this chair and start. I'll give you a perfect example.
Yeah.
So on YouTube, we put a few titles together that involved QAnon, Trump, blah blah blah, and those videos got way more views than the other videos that didn't have those keywords in them, right? So
that are being searched a lot, yeah.
Our videos going forward may have those titles, but I'm not going to sit here and lie to our viewers about things that aren't true.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to, I want to make sure, and I love Nathaniel, he's exactly right about that, just bringing that back together.
Yeah.
I really want people to understand that there are politicians out there are people coming up through the ranks, through YouTube, whatever, that are making so much money off of people.
Yeah.
And I tweeted that the other day too. There are Trump supporters or conservative supporters that are without money now because they put so much money into that campaign or those grifting schemes that they're now asking for help. Like, these are people that had...
But there's also a lot that have a ton of money.
Right.
Because of their grifting, yeah.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is that I feel sorry for those people that gave their life savings to this cause, and they are now asking the Trump campaign,
Trump, yeah.
Yeah, what happened, or what did you spend this money on?
$226 million?
Yeah. So these people are like, okay, you said this was going to happen even if you lost. Yeah. You were going to be doing all of this and that to make sure the system wasn't rigged, and these people are asking for financial statements and all of this other stuff. Yeah. And they're not getting it. They're getting ready to sign. Yeah, they don't have to do it. It's just
which we talked about. We said that it was not listed as a campaign donation. I mean, we said that.
How many times did we say it, dude?
They can spend it on a damn yacht.
We're like, stop doing that.
My bet is he's paying off the $386 million that he was debted to different banks. My bet is he probably gave them a pretty good down payment of that. Maybe enough to just...
That's what happened.
You guys understand how, like, debts... Anybody who's watching this, I'm guessing, is at least probably an adult. And you've had to make... And if you haven't yet, this will probably happen to you at some point in your life, but, like, likely you've had to make some sort of deal with some sort of debtor that you go, oh, they say you owe $600. You're like, I don't want to, you know, what if I pay you $485 right now? They go,
close it out.
You know what? Cool, we're good with that because
it's
there's
better
other
than
crap,
nothing.
it's fees and all this other and interest.
Yeah.
And to them, they're like, hey, we're still making, like again, maybe they loaned you $500, and we'll make it simple. They loaned you $500, you didn't pay it back. They then made it say it was like $1,500. You came back and said, listen, if I pay $750, they go, cool, we make $250 on that loan. That's literally what banks and debtors will do. And I guarantee you, if Trump goes there with $220 million, and he goes to one bank, says, oh, I owed you this, here's 50,
so,
this one's 80.
Yeah,
He's now paid off all these Dick and Janes, paid off a kid who was given $412 million by his daddy, who blew it and screwed up so badly that now he's in debt, and then he took money from working class people, $10, $20, $30, $50.
That's up.
They could have bought bread, milk, eggs, fed their kids, paid a you know, their Netflix payment. I mean, whatever.
So
Here you go, Trumpy.
Yeah, in regards to that, so that after the
golf club at Mar-a-Lago.
After the election was over,
Dick.
That was Trump. He knew the election was over. He knew he lost. He knew that he was not going to overturn it, but he had to make money fast before he was out of the White House. And that's the way he did it, guys. And it's sad to see.
The clock was a ticking.
It was ticking, and you saw it. You saw it. He was like, he was everywhere. He was holding rallies. He was going here and there. He was being 5 places in one day. You know what I mean? 6 or 7, 8 places in one day. And that's what he campaigned on. He's like, oh, no other person in the world can do this. No one has the stamina to do this. Well, damn, man, if I was in that much debt and I had that audience captivated, I would be I would be flying around everywhere too.
And you're already intertwined in that group. We talk about them all the time. You know, and they try to always act like they're, like we talked about last week when you were saying how they act like they're oppressed. Oh, it's so hard to be Paris Hilton and Kylie Jenner and like, you know, Meghan McCain and like the Koch brothers and like it's George like Mark Zuckerberg. Oh the horror. Oh how difficult it is. Yeah. It's like, dude, you guys are falling for these like complete grifters. You know, we chastise Bernie Madoffs of the world doing what they did, but then like somehow these other people do in my humble opinion, the exact same type of thing. Mm-hmm. Promising something like Bernie Madoff did a Ponzi scheme, if anybody doesn't know what that basically was, promising something he was never going to deliver. He got a bunch of people to donate to him, you know, to put money into this, you know, this thing. Yeah. Well, that's exactly what these people do. They promise stuff they're never going to deliver. Trump promised something he's never going to deliver.
But this one is like,
on a monumental scale.
It's so
Bernie
blatant.
Madoff being like $1 billion.
It's so blatant though, and it's so sad. But
and one of them was like the president, who is, you ask any of you guys, and you know, ladies and gents, or ladies and gents, ask your children, okay? Like if you have around anywhere from like even an 8-year-old all the way to about a 13-year-old, I would love you to ask your children, what do they think a president is supposed to represent? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say probably like leadership, moral compass, having like I said, good moral standards, you know, stuff. I mean, they might not say the word moral, but they'll say being a good person. Yeah. Okay, like not somebody with 22 sexual assaults against them, not somebody talking about grabbing them by the pussy, not somebody who's been like his whole life going to like, you know, with young women. Really,
and I love that you brought that up, Wes.
Yeah, that's what kids think.
I've had to actually teach my kids again what a president is like. They were babies when Obama was in office, right? Yeah. So they saw 4 years of Donald Trump, and for them to think that is the picture of what a president should look like is really sad. Yeah. So I had to actually, my daughter the other day, for instance, my daughter was like, you know, watching Biden, and she's like, well, why doesn't he scream? Why isn't he yelling? So again, I had to like tell her, like, this is kind of what a president does, and this is how they act, and
then we as adults can get more into the like, for at least our like younger people, we would prefer them to act like Obama act like, even like Bush, and it's like, right, like he acted, at least like my kid could watch him and go, okay, this dude is not acting like a complete jackass, so we can get into the weeds and go, okay, but their policies are what's really important. But like when you have no policies like Trump did, then you're screaming and yelling. And
I have no problem. I have no problem with the way. If Trump wanted to act like a crazy madman, I don't care. As long as things were getting done. Things weren't getting done. So if you're gonna act like a crazy psychopath every single day, at least do something.
But I'm saying like the prototypical leader
I
that we would want. We would want like, I mean, you know, everybody doesn't mind Michael Jordan or Tom Brady like during the game. It's an emotional game. Being a little bit like, hey, we gotta get going. Let's get up. You know, like that's motivating the guys, right? Mm-hmm. And the same with like, you know, when female on team sport, right? Like the team sports for females or something like that. Serena Williams gets pretty ramped up. I love watching her play. That girl's a beast. But like, you know, somebody like that. When you see that, and I was trying to think of, I had several different girls from the U.S. women's soccer team that was in my head for a moment. But when you see like somebody like Amanda Morgan or Rapinoe, somebody like that, try to amp up their team, that is a different game. That's a sport game. We want somebody, again, if you're asking your, you know, relatively younger, middle, you know, maybe some teenage year child, what we would prefer is, yes, somebody who is calm, collected, who is poised, like I said, poised,
very
calculated,
confident,
and their policies are actually like policies, something that's going to help as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, we're just going to help this group, which is what, I mean, a lot of the corporatist Democrats do the same thing as the corporatist Republicans. They help Meghan McCain's, Paris Hilton's, the Koch brothers. It's like the same list of people every time. Like, hey, let's make sure that they're happy. You know, they're already sitting on hundreds of millions, but let's make sure that or billions.
Well,
let's make sure they're not feeling uncomfortable today because, God forbid, getting out of their gated communities in their $300,000 cars, they feel triggered.
So what are your thoughts? Because it kind of seems like politicians are leaning towards like this Trump playbook, and they have to be nasty. They have to be aggressive. They have to be in your face. So you're seeing that a lot more. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Because that seems like the direction that we're going in politics. It's just like, you know,
I think what
and it doesn't help that Fox News and all those other news stations, quote unquote, amplify.
That's how they make money. Yeah. And CNN, I mean, and what it's doing, and this is I mean, again, I've been taking, you know, courses about psychology, because for those who don't know, as I said, I'm a personal trainer. I'm trying to set up a rehabilitation center a certain way, and now I have to have my bachelor's degree, which is changing in April, but anyway, so I have to literally get my bachelor's in psychology, so I've been reading about this, and in my, you know, early readings about this, and this is something I've known for years anyways, but I've always liked to read, but I think it has a lot to do with people's wanting to get that attention that they're not getting.
Okay.
So many people will take negative attention, right, over no attention.
Anything.
Over no attention.
Right.
And unfortunately, I have some of those in my family that are very much like that. You know, my sister, I think, is getting better about it. I'll give her credit there. My mom I think she's just a lost cause. Sucks. Wish she wasn't that way, but that is just the truth. She's just like that, dude. Just makes up crap. She, like I told you, she voted for Obama twice and then turned right around, and because of her family members, you know, like her immediate, like, brothers and sisters, who are all big Trump supporters, which again is fine. It's just, they, like, get her, it's like, again, she's like Trump. She's like, who's ever the last one in the room right before she goes votes could probably sway her to go either way, because she doesn't really have any internal happiness. Right. So they're very easily flip-flopped, and we talk about a few of them that we know very well. They're very easily flip-flopped, and it's like they make these crazy statements, and then you show them the truth, and they go,
here's my problem. Here's my problem with that, and we've talked about this. I don't have a problem with you being a flip-flopper. Okay, you do your thing, you do that. But once you start spreading that disinformation for attention.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? When you start spreading...
Flip-flop and quiet.
Flip-flop and shut up. Shut the hell up, right? Don't
Dave
flip-flop. Don't flip-flop and then... You know,
and then spread your nonsense.
Spread all your nonsense. I mean,
like,
we know someone.
Oh,
that
this
does
is just
that.
like this is just as many deaths as the flu. It's like, no, that's not the case.
Yeah.
The biggest flu we ever had, 2018, killed 82,000 people. Our average flu year is 32 to 33,000. Yeah. We're gonna hit 600,000. Estimates are now around 750 deaths. But we've already had over 500,000.
Well, I mean that
it's not just
the
flu.
I think that argument was debunked in
like week 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying that I see where you're going with that, because it's like it is disinformation. I mean, and this is why we have this
disinformation for attention. Like, I don't get it. Like, are you that desperate?
Yeah.
Are you that desperate? And those people
go learn about yourself. Go read yourself.
Right.
For yourself.
The people that I'm
surprised.
The specific person that I'm thinking of is like, you could go to that person, ask them about any Trump policy, and they wouldn't have a clue.
Oh, that's
wouldn't have a freaking clue what he's done, or
there's a lot of people on the left that wouldn't have any clue if Biden has any. I mean, I'm just saying, like, it kind of it does.
I mean, I don't
both
believe
ways.
that. I don't believe that. Biden supporters know what his policies are.
I think they're a lot. I think they have a lot more knowledge.
Yeah.
Now you start getting into like the Bernie Sanders supporters and the people in that camp, dude. They've done all kinds of panels with them, and these cats were like. They knew down the list, just like how this affects, how they knew, like me, they knew percentages, they knew, like, we're ready with it. And the reason why is because, like we talked about before, the Bernie Sanders type mindsets, the Martin Luther King type mindsets, the Dr. Cornel West type mindsets, these are people who, and we'll not even go politics, Brian Greene, Neil deGrasse Tyson, they tell you, those are astrophysicists for anybody that don't know, they tell you to go seek information. They tell you to go find information.
Right.
So when somebody's telling you, like Fox News and OAN and Newsmax, and even a little bit of MSNBC, I've heard it on there too, or like some of those YouTube channels that are like literally telling you, oh, this other channel is going to lie to you no matter what, you need to watch that channel. You need to not watch that channel and go watch the other channel and just see, and if they tell you the same thing about them, then don't watch either one of them, because they're trying to tell you to not get information.
Right.
I watch all these people's
shit. Me too.
And then I go,
I think that's why I feel like I've aged like 30 years in the last year.
The last 4 or
just
5.
because I've gone down and watched the other side, and I just, just the level of insanity that goes on those news networks.
Well, wait till your daughter starts, like, I posted this the other day. I said there was like a meme that my daughter posted it, which is funny. That it said like if her daddy's bald, she's probably hot or something like that. And I said just wait till your daughter starts. And I said like it was the moment my daughter started saying, "Oh, that boy's cute." That like just one hair out of the other, ding ding, just starts flying off my head.
Yeah.
So just wait till that starts to happen, because you'll eventually. And that's what really starts to break.
I do not look forward to that at all, by the way.
It'll start to really break your. Again, I'm hoping for Kenny's sake that, and again, I know it's probably not going to happen in the next 2 or 3, 4 years, but like, dude, we can have dreams and aspirations to like want something to happen, and I hope that these like dark times, because it's exactly like what Nate said, right? That this is what we get. Well, we say this all the time. I'm hoping that turning the lights on will then expose all of these people, and it's just going to take some time to weed them out.
Yeah, so here's my point of view on that. I don't actually think that these dark times will end until Trump is no longer allowed or able to be in
I mean,
the
I think it goes deeper than him. I think this is... look at, like... look who came out to defend Matt Gaetz. And again, we don't know if Matt Gaetz did it or not.
Yeah, I have no idea.
There's a hell of a lot more proof about him.
I have no idea, yeah.
But I guarantee you, all you people that like are Matt Gaetz defenders, or that side defenders, I guarantee you, the vast majority of you have absolutely trashed Deshaun Watson when there's virtually almost no proof of anything that he's done. These women are like.
I want to ask.
And yet Matt Gaetz, we have proof.
I want to ask
pictures,
you.
There's already information out.
I want to ask I want to ask our listeners if you have thought about that. I want you to ask yourself why.
Yeah.
Just think about that for a second. I want you to ask yourself why you thought that about Deshaun.
Yeah. Because you probably also didn't think about that about Brett Kavanaugh, even though there was a lie detector test done by a girl who didn't do any TV appearances, wasn't trying to sue anybody. She was a doctor. Her psychiatrist, her doctor, had not only her own computer records, I believe they were like 15 or 16 years back of when she told her this story, like, so her own files. Then she uploaded to the cloud, like, I think it was like 9 or 10 years ago, or at the time when this all happened, you know, a couple years back. But anyway, so what, now what, she controls Apple? Like, let's just say that she could have changed her time and date on her computer file. Totally could do that. I could do that right now today. Let's go down that rabbit hole. But she damn well could not have changed when she uploaded that to her iCloud. Mm-hmm. So, whereas like we have a polygraph who I've seen lawyer after lawyer after lawyer say these things are, I don't care, go with the lowest amount, 90% cool. 90% is way more accurate than people.
Well,
people lie.
Here's another.
I'm 7'2", I dunked on LeBron yesterday. Lie.
Yeah.
Lie.
And I beat Michael Jordan 1-on-1 the other day too.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though.
And
so
Tom Brady hasn't won ever.
Here's kind of how the media runs, right? Today, unfortunately, there was a police officer killed at the Capitol again. So I was at the gym and I posted this on our Instagram. You know, CNN was covering that, and then on the next TV over, Fox News is talking about something. It was Hunter Biden or something like that, or something crazy. And I just couldn't, you know, these people on Fox News are so about the backing the blue.
Yeah, just the
you
culture.
know what I mean?
It's like
the
culture. Yeah.
But here's the thing. They condemn the Democrats because they wouldn't take down the fencing at the Capitol, right? So now they can't sit here and save face and be like, okay, let's cover this shooting at the Capitol. Yeah. Or not shooting, you know, the police officer being killed at the Capitol. So it's just so funny how hypocritical everyone, I don't know. I get frustrated. I get wound up about it.
It's easy to see. It's easy to see.
You guys back the blue 24/7 when it's conducive to you and your programming, but when one dies at the Capitol that you told to take down the fence at, you don't cover it. Like, are you kidding me?
And then like we said, we talked about like while the trial was going on for the insurrections with the FBI director, you know, testifying about the 85% of increase in domestic crimes have been from right-wing white supremacists over the last 5 years, and that was the FBI director. When you look up at the exact same time, Fox. This is stuff, like I said, we're doing recap, guys, but this is the kind of stuff that you guys got to realize that they've been doing. Then they're talking about Mr. Potato Head, and then next thing you know, it's Lil Nas. It's always this diversion instead of saying, hey, listen, like, we need to go forward in progress.
Right.
These wealthy, like especially Christian conservatives, they do not, like the wealthy ones, like the wealthy people you see on TV, they do not care about Potato Head. They do not care about Lil Nas X. They do not care about Dr. Seuss. They don't give two rat shits about none of that. Yeah. It's all nothing but like a diversion so that you don't pay attention to your paycheck. You don't pay attention to the $7,000 you're paying, you know, every few months for health insurance. When we know, like, there was a whole, you know, mathematical thing put out about people making under this amount, how much they would pay. Like a family of 4 making under $29,000 was like $400 and some a year for Medicare for all. The numbers were astounding, and they don't want you guys to focus on that.
And you know what, I really appreciate you, because you actually put out facts, right? So you kind of, I see your stuff and then I kind of go down, you send me down the trajectory.
It's not hard to Google, guys.
But the thing is it's like, when are we going to stop with the damn money grabbing and actually tell the truth and move this country forward?
Like
that's all I ask, man.
We have to weed out the weasels, and they're in the weeds. And right now, this country's in the weeds. There's a lot of good things that could happen from it.
Yeah, we are. You're right. We're in the weeds. That is for sure.
And again, dude, the lights have to get turned on. That's what we're doing this for. And those, we had a couple people commenting on here, not sure who they even were. We would love to have other perspective on here, because And if they come on here, they better make sure they have, researched their shit. Because when I put out something about the United Kingdom having 66 million people and 94 square miles, Colorado's 104,000 square miles, so less space than Colorado is the entire United Kingdom, right? They have 66 million people. We have 5.7. So put that in perspective, guys. And you talk about, oh, it's just because we have so many. Dude, you're wrong. 5.7 million people in Colorado versus 66 million people. Think about how that would look. Like California, right? Like 50-some million people. Everyone's like super crowded. It's a pretty big state, though.
Yeah.
But point is that the United Kingdom is smaller than Colorado. 66 million people. Yet you have in Texas, and I chose Texas for a reason, because we kill bad guys because good guys got guns in their hip holsters.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? That's not true, because you guys have 29 million people and you have 1,400 homicides, and the United Kingdom only had 800 homicides. So if they had 66 million in Texas, you got to assume that's going to at least double. So you got 3,000 homicides. So why is it almost 4 times the amount of homicides happening in Texas, where, oh, we have open carry, da-da-da-da-da-da. How come in the top, 15 most murder rate states, I believe 12 of them were red states, and they're deep red, like, we carry guns everywhere. So why is that? And you ask that question, and then someone says, literally a comment I get back was like, oh, we want our guns in case the government comes and tries to take them.
Yeah,
that wasn't the question, bro.
That was definitely not the question. And I'm sick of the argument, and I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
Of the repeated, we're taking your guns away.
My BB gun is gonna kill a tank.
No one's taking your guns away. And in regards to what Wes was speaking about earlier in the conversation, we had a comment on one of our YouTubes.
Yeah.
We want you to engage with us.
Let us
if you
know.
have something to say it. If you want to come on the show,
bring the ruckus.
We're gonna figure out a way to get you on there. If we're reading the comment or you're coming in on Skype, feel free to reach out to us, because I don't know if that person didn't watch the podcast all the way through, but we say it at least 5 or 6 times that we want your feedback and we want to hear from you. So.
Yeah. And honestly, in all honesty, we really do. And I have no problem, because
we do. We hear from people, that's for sure.
Yeah, and when someone says, oh, there's different, ideologies, 100%. But to me, a different ideology, and I'll give you a quick example. Somebody says, I'm a fiscal, and I'm going to give you 2 examples. I'm kind of in the middle on both. But somebody says, I'm a fiscal conservative. The debt matters, the deficit matters. Truth to nail, granted, that never seems to matter when they're in office, but we won't go down that path. They are fiscal, yeah. Well, they're fiscal conservative. The debt matters, the deficit matters, yada 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 yada. Then there's other people who will say, and they're also economists, who will say, we control our own currency. We can literally say, as a country, that we collected X amount of many taxes and write off whatever the hell we want. Basically cook our own books. We're the only, who's gonna come check them? Think about that, guys. If you had your own currency and you said, oh yeah, I made 50 million. Oh, I didn't make. Who's gonna come check our books? Who? We can just say, oh, it's written off. We just printed the money, it's written off, so it looks good to the world. We can just do that, right? Who's to know that other countries aren't doing that? So I look at that and go, yeah, we control our own currency.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Right? No, I'm just saying, I look at it and go, we control our own currency.
Yeah.
Okay? So, like I said, I'm in the middle of that. I kind of go, yeah, does the debt matter to a certain degree? A little bit, yes. Does the deficit matter? A little bit more. But does it also not matter this great deal because we control our currency? Yes. So those are different of opinions, and somebody could come on here and give me different ideologies in that realm. But it's not a difference of opinion of oh, everyone's being treated equally. No. Black people are being shot 3 times more likely than white people by police. They're not getting loans at the same rate. You're not getting into colleges. They're not getting jobs at the same, with the same qualifications. So it's not, those are not different trains of thought.
Yeah, so
that is
I'm
black, that is literally a black and white, and I don't mean skin. I'm talking fact versus bullshit.
I'm a little bit more transparent in my responses to people.
Yeah.
Because I'm look at the last 3 Republican presidents if you're worried about deficit and debt.
Oh yeah.
And then that's exactly what I said. And then I just don't say anything else.
Yeah. Because it's just it's very obvious.
It doesn't make any sense to me that you are the party of the blue collar and you're worried about the mighty dollar, and then every time there's a Republican in office, we're in trouble.
Yeah, so for
every time.
For example, you can argue and say, okay, when Obama took over, the unemployment rate was at I believe it was 10.5. We'll just call it 10. Is at 10%. He brought it down to sub 5. We'll call it 5. Okay, so in half. So he cut it by 50%.
That was after a housing crisis.
After crazy all this stuff, right? So he cut it by 50%.
Mm-hmm.
Trump took over, got it down to 4.5. I think at one point it was 4.3. Mm-hmm. So that's a point, right? Like a half a point. So based upon that, it's okay. So
their argument is the pandemic.
Well, no, this was before the pandemic.
Okay,
it was at
gotcha.
4. It was 4. I think it got down to 4.25. So, right, 10% cut in half to 5. 4% only down to 5% only down to 4.25. So a quarter of a percent versus 5 percentage points.
But the stock market.
So who was actually the one who raised the economy and got it to the point where it's at? The stock market's been going up at almost the exact same percentage rate. But people don't understand that because if I had 20,000 this year and went up, or we'll do simple math, 1,000 this year and went up 20%, how much I have?
The thing is though,
right?
the average American is not invested in the stock market.
Yeah, and then
so,
the stock market
but his supporters, they see that and they're like, the stock market. I'm like, you have nothing to do with the stock market.
Yeah.
Why are you excited about that?
Yeah. 84% is owned by the top 8%, and if you get into the next 2 or 3%, it's 91%. That's all stuff you guys can look out. I look this stuff up all the time, and all I'm saying is for those who want to talk about the stock market, when it's going up at 20%, let's just again simple math. If I have $1,000 right now and I get 20% on it, that's $1,200. Well, I have $1,200 now, but it goes up 20 more %. So I still get my other $200 that I got from the first 1,000, right? But oh wait, there's another $200 there, so now I get another 20%. And then next time it's right, so that 20% starts to compound, and it's not that that it's going up at a higher rate. It's just been going up at the same percentage.
Yeah,
rate.
and I don't think.
And I don't really care, like you said, most people aren't.
Yeah, I don't
in the
really.
stock market.
No, but you're right though. It's always been a steady climb, right? Or it's not been.
The stock market is
stock market is stock market.
1912.
Obviously, I have interest in the stock market, but there's.
I use it like gambling. I try to do pump and dump. Well, actually, I do cryptocurrencies mainly now.
Yeah, we all
after
have that.
After I saw what happened with
crypto.
Yeah, after I saw what happened with Robinhood. I mean, that was just that was another thing we recapped, what happened with Robinhood. I mean, it's just if that doesn't show you guys, it's not a free market. It's not.
Yeah.
The billionaires are controlling even the beloved free stock market.
Well, I can't believe that they wouldn't even let you in. Or didn't
they were selling your shares.
They were selling your
not
shares,
letting you
right.
purchase.
Yeah.
While the hedge funders got rid of.
I forgot that even went so much.
Right.
Has
There's
gone
so much
down.
stuff that's gone down.
Oh my goodness.
And we try to go through this, guys, and then fast forward like we said, we've been trying to recap and just talk about the insurrection was huge, right? Then you see little stuff like that, which is not political, but it shows you how broken our systems are of the Robinhood thing. Then we start getting into just all the QAnon stuff where March 4th came and went, they made up a new date. March 20th came and went, they made up a new date. Now you got crackhead, my pillow guy Mike, sorry, former crackhead, but whatever, I think he's still a crackhead. Now he's talking about how he can't even get on OAN Newsmax. They won't even have him on anymore.
They're like,
Did you see that video of him on Steve Bannon's show? Where he's even Steve Bannon is oh my god. He's you just wait, Steve. What did he say? I think it was in August.
You did that
he said,
perfect impression.
You just wait. In August, I'm telling you, what I got here is going to get Trump. He's coming back in office in August. And even Bannon's well, we don't know any about that.
Steve Bannon is a smart guy.
He is smart.
Very, very smart guy.
He's using his intelligence to be an asshole, like a lot of them do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, guys, and then we look at the moment we start kind of going back out, what starts happening? We start seeing violence again. We've had now 3 mass shootings. There was obviously the Atlanta shooting that was.
This is all in 1 month.
That 3 mass shootings within 2 weeks.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, that's right.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
That thing that happened in California 2 nights ago. I believe I haven't checked anything last.
I haven't checked anything on that.
But I know there was 4 people killed. But I believe it was just the guy just went on a rant and to start shooting. And again, this is why we talk about it.
I bet this will end up being Biden's fault.
Yeah, it'll be like,
Somehow.
oh, somehow it's, this group. It's like, yes, can we put blame on certain groups? Yeah, I mean, we know 83% of mass shootings since 2000 has been from right-wing local terrorists, domestic terrorists. That's again on the FBI statistics page. You can go look that up. 11% has been Islamic. The 3 or 4% have been left-wing, and then the last like 1% or whatever, 1 or 2% is kind of miscellaneous, just random. But a lot of these people have written, we've talked about it, they've written manifestos. They've literally said all of their hateful rhetoric, homophobic, racist rhetoric, all that stuff, and they go and do these mass shootings, and then we're like, and then I try to put out information about, I'm not trying to ban guns, I say that right out the gate, I have 3, Kenny has a gun or has a couple guns as well. We're not trying to ban guns. It's like, but we're trying to explain to you, we cannot sit here and act like we're exceptional. We continue to do this American exceptionalism. How? We do the heat maps of the murder rates in the world. We are one of the reddest. I mean, it's Central America and like South America, the only ones redder than us, and it's not by a lot.
At some point, we need to wake up.
Yeah.
We need to wake up and be like, yeah, America's not great.
I mean, there's a lot of great things that we can get out of it. Like the solution is, like I said, getting as many people out of poverty and feeling positive about their life. Whether it's people I don't maybe agree with fully on their ideologies. Even if there's somebody who's like, even somebody who might be a white supremacist, a black supremacist, an Asian, I mean, like whatever. I clearly, obviously, do not agree with that, but I still want them to not be pissed off roaming around, right? Because then they're doing stuff typically against people based upon like skin color, sexual orientations, shit like that, and a lot of that stems from financials. A lot. What do they say? Like
or education. 50%
of the people that they are under investigation from the insurrection had it was like 20. I can't remember my percentage right now, but it was like they were 20% higher debt income ratios than the average American.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, there was a bunch of statistics that came out that showed how they were had like 2 times more bankruptcies than the average American.
They were going through it.
They were, in other words, they were struggling.
Yeah, they were struggling,
and they're pissed off.
They just needed to take it out on somebody, right? They followed one group and there they went.
It's really easy, like we talked about. These
I
people
think it's
who
a
are
little
like
bit too easy now for that to happen.
Yeah, they're not happy internally.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stems from, literally, we can literally see this. Like so many studies are done about this. It stems from financials, which tend to stem from lack of good quality education.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not something we don't, if I know it, you know it, there's, billions of people around the planet that know this, then the only answer is who's causing, who is it that's deliberately making sure these things are not being done properly?
Yeah.
Why they're not educating people, why they're keeping certain parts of the cities and even rural areas, why they're just ran to shit, trailer parks and just crap.
And to that point too, I think that us as Americans are taking the land of the free a little bit too, too literal, right?
Yeah.
Like, as Americans, we just can't do whatever the hell we want, when we want. We have to act civil. We have to have a moral compass. We have to be good people. And just because we're Americans, we can't go out and just do nasty things or be serial killers or mass shooters or racist or pedophiles. Like, that doesn't, just because you're an American, that doesn't give you the license to just act and do whatever you want. I think that is kind of where we're at as a society.
Well, pedophiles tend to also usually be fairly outcasted, and I wrote about this on a Deshaun Watson post, that was on the CBS Bears Den, and it's wild because I kind of see the same thing there where people are going after men and women, and I'm like, whoa, there's just hardly no information that's came out yet. Mm-hmm. And I wrote on there, I said, well, if he's done this, F him. If he's done anything that's really vulgar, F him, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But we have due process for a reason in this country. And again, polygraphs, all that kind of stuff need to be done for everybody involved, and then we start finding out real quick who's telling the truth.
Yeah.
And that's just, I believe that wholeheartedly. Now, what I wrote in there was about saying, hey, listen, you know, basically what I said was, if we had, legal sex workers, in other words, places where people can legally go, right, to have sex, and it wasn't taboo and all that stuff. And, you know, a lot of people are like, wow, that's a really good point, because you look at Bangkok, and where they have legal sex, or Amsterdam, Bangkok has less than 1%, it's the lowest in the world, less than 1% of women have ever reported a sexual crime. So I bring that up because, like we were talking about with like the pedophile, these people tend to be outcast type, you know, men, and it's like, I believe that statistics are something like 92% white men that have done these shootings. So, you know, but they tend to be like outcasts in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of that stems from, right, like not working as a community, not giving
not
good
seeing that
education.
kid, hey,
Yeah.
he's struggling, let's put him in some programs.
Or he's not being fed because he's poor, like malnutrition.
Or he's getting his ass beat at home by his dad or his mom or whatever. The mom and dad are on drugs, so he's turning to this damn computer or phone and going onto these hate groups. It's just, it's so simple to me.
And malnutrition is huge.
Yeah.
So when you're not being fed properly,
right.
You're, especially in like a younger age, your brain develops, we know this scientific fact, how poorly your brain develops versus somebody who's eating at least reasonably food.
Those guys too, those groups, they will say, hey, we'll take care of you. We'll bring you in.
Similar to like gangs, it's the same kind of principle.
Absolutely.
And like, I understand it because when you are, I kind of was one of those kids. I mean, not really kind of, I was one of those kids, 100%. And we got in a lot of trouble, and we were doing a lot of things that, like, I thank the stars and all the gods of the world that, like, our kids did not do that. And I think we all learned from it. We lost, a friend to it, and a good friend, our buddy Alan, Alan Michael Connor. My son's middle name is Connor. My buddy Kurt's his first name is Connor. That's not how kids should have to, be going to their buddy's funeral at 18. That's not what we want. And we also don't want, somebody going to King Soopers and having some, some disenfranchised person, go, and same with Atlanta, disenfranchised person, who's being taught rhetoric at his own church, who started removing these what are they called, like their not like off of their website. They're taking down their whatever, all their like little preaching. I don't know what those things are called. I always forget the name of that. Anyway,
if I walked into a church, it'd burn down. So
they've been taking them down off their church because they had a bunch of their precipice or whatever that was like talking about homophobic and black. I mean, just completely ridiculous shit. And you wonder where this kid got that. He was a super hardcore white Christian, right-wing conservative. Yeah. And that's just kind of the unfortunate truth about what's been happening. And they're indoctrinating people, like I said, when you're not fed right, when you grow up in poverty, whether you're white, brown, black.
And this is on the black side too.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely. Like
everywhere.
This happens on both sides.
Yes.
And it's just like
poverty doesn't care about your skin color.
It doesn't give a shit, guys.
Yeah.
And it's so blatant, right? Like you see the right wing guys coming up, and then you see the gang members coming up on this side, and then it's just it's a travesty. Yep. It's a travesty.
And Dr. King said it. I mean, I've talked about this before. Dr. King said it where he said poor whites and poor blacks are dying on the island of poverty. I believe that was in 1961 or 62.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like, we've talked about it before. That's facts. And like, when you have people who are not like our citizens, these are human beings who we are literally like
Americans
to like, go F themselves, fly a kite when they're like, they need a sandwich, dude. They need like a roof over their head. We're not saying everyone deserves $1 million in the bank account. What we're saying is we need to make sure if people are working 35 to 40 hours a week or more, that they go to open their fridge and it's not bare. I'm not saying it needs to have lobster and filet mignon in it, but it needs to have good nutrients in it. And that is it, by providing livable wages, by providing education. These are the things, these are the policies that we need to be focused on.
Yeah.
No matter Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Progressive,
So
whatever.
it's really sad to me because I think I had a moment this week to kind of think about if I made $7 or $7 whatever it is an hour, like, how does that motivate people?
Well, then what are you going home and doing to probably your
like,
family and your kids?
Like, what do you do?
You're flipping out.
You're having a damn fit.
You're looking at bills going, I can pay this one or this one. Guys, do you want water or
what
lights?
Do you want? Yeah.
Do you want heat or water? I mean, dude, I've had my shit shut off. So I'm not going to sit here and act like, and yes, I've had both my shit shut off, like water and my fucking electric. And like, legit just completely spaced it. But like, at the end of the day, I was like, fuck, I had to call them. It was like, I had to pay like a $300 bill. Like, I can imagine, if somebody was like, oh my god, in fact, somebody in my neighborhood, this is not some little low, like, I worked my absolute ass off to get over here, and almost everybody that's in my neighborhood, almost every single buddy I've talked to, and again, it is what it is, they grew up over here. Yeah. They grew up over here. Yeah. And most of them seem to be pretty chill, but any of those ones who want to throw fucking stones and act like, oh, why isn't anybody where I'm at? You started here. And I've said this many times before. You started here. You've done nothing. So when somebody else started in South Chicago or in like some of our rougher areas like Mount Bello area or like over like Adams County, some of these areas, right? Like, or just even just poor in where I grew up, just living in like a poor neighborhood, like 1,300 square foot house with 7 people, 1 bathroom. And then you get to like, and then they're like, oh, well, why aren't they over here? I didn't start here, dude. Yeah. So I had to do a lot more climbing than you did.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And all I needed was like a sandwich at times.
So here's the thing too, is like I was the typical, African American, didn't have a dad growing up, I had a single mother. But the thing is though, is I saw my mom grind every single day. She grinded her heart out. She instilled that in me, right? So I could either take the road of going into a gang or hanging out on the streets, or I could do something with my life and grind my way up the ladder, which I've done. So again, a lot of that too, it's a mindset.
A little bit, but what if you have 2 bad parents?
Well, then that's a lot of
people say, oh, that's your parents' fault.
Right.
What if those parents had bad parents?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
I get it.
How far are we going to continue to go? And what if because I'm not trying to be a dick, but like my grandma and grandpa on my mom's side, I love my grandma, but bro, they were not like the best parents. Yeah. 100%.
But Wes,
and look at their
you were able to grind your way out of it, right?
But you take 1,000 kids who grow through that, and 85% of them don't.
And I'm not just saying that. I'm not only saying it's a mindset.
It's
right?
84%.
I'm saying it is a mindset.
It is.
And then at 100%. The end of the day, too.
But somebody's got to instill that mindset.
Someone's got to be able to teach these people how to be like I said, just like I just said. I had my mother.
And we have a community.
Model, right?
We have community.
Right.
And if we had more community, then you have somebody like you and then somebody like me, which is what I've done. I've gone and been a coach for 20 plus years in youth sports. I have coached in North Aurora. I've had heart-to-hearts with young boys, specifically one boy, little black boy, who was like saying his teacher hated him and like da-da-da-da-da, and I had a really heart-to-heart with him. I said, dude, sit in the front of your class, turn your homework on time, say hi to your teacher and bye to your teacher every day, be nice to her, do that with all your teachers. I started having to do a progress report with me where they just checked his and I did this with all my kids. All my kids I coach, they had to check what their grade was real quick, and then it also said their effort.
Yeah.
Right.
What was their effort for the week?
Yeah, for the week. And that was it. And they just signed it. And if they didn't have a good one, they weren't starting that game, and they might not have played until the second quarter or the middle of the first half, depending, because I coach soccer and football. And guess what, man? A few months later, that kid's mom came to me and said that was the best report card she's ever gotten.
That kid, right?
Yeah.
Is probably going to remember you for the rest of their lives because you went the extra mile, and that's what we need to do with all of our children out there.
Yeah.
This has been a great
Lift
conversation.
Somebody up. Pick them up. You're pulling people down when we could be pulling them up.
Yeah.
And it's not helping. It's literally not. It's literally killing people. Literally killing people. And this is why we do this, guys. And so Season 2.
Season 2 is going to be bigger and better. We're going to have better equipment.
Like to have guests on.
We're going to have some guests on. And we're really going to keep organically building our base and doing it the right way. We love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in for Season 1.
If you want to come on.
Yeah, if you want to come on, let us know.
You want to come represent.
Yeah, and my kids right here. You can find us on Twitter at UFidiots and Instagram and at Unfiltered_IdiotsIG.
Yeah.
And Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those places
stuff.
you can find us. Anchor app.
Everywhere. YouTube.
Yeah, like I said, guys.
Find us.
Great conversation. We love having these conversations with you.
Season 1.
And we're just getting started.
Season 2 coming.
Yes.
We're just getting started.
Thank you
Make
guys
sure
so
you
much.
elevate people around you, pick people up,
Pick 'em
don't
up.
knock them down.
Yeah.
You're a dirtbag if you knock people down instead of lifting them up. And that's how we do things. We out. We love everybody.
We love
Thank
you.
you so much. Mic drops.
Thank you.
Season 2. You beep beep beep, and then it cuts to like what's shown on TV. It's like you beep beep, son of a beep beep, but beep you. That's funny.
All right, we good? You ready?
Yep.
All right, let's get this going.
Popping, locking. Coming your way.
Shit.
Oh, did that run out? Really? Oh my bad. When did it run out?
I don't fucking know.
Oh, I gotta watch that. Wow, that didn't feel like that was an hour.
Looky, look me up on Google, search the classics, you crazy bass. Hold me up and pull me down. It's a battle royale in the eye of the storm. Drowning in the shallows when the path is getting narrow. I'ma ride it out on this broken arrow. Fuck it. Hold me up.